We're here in this segment and we're talking about tango, but from the perspective of other dancers formatted in other dance who have the opportunity to get involved some way into the tango world. So we are here with an incredible dancer. I want him to introduce himself and talk about your name, where are you coming from?
Yeah, so my name is Jun Kuribayashi. I'm almost 40. I've been dancing since I was 22. I have a background in breakdancing, martial arts, athletics, and most recently, for the last 12 years, a little over a decade, I was a dancer, dance captain, and artistic associate at Pilables Dance Theater. Traveled internationally. It's famous for, well, for one, being naked on stage, and we were kind of the black sheep of the dance community. There's a lot of partnering involved, so you're working with multiple people, usually more than 2 to 6 people at a time, sometimes even 12. It depends on the piece.
So now he is here at our tango very often.
Yes.
So I wanted to know, before, I know Pilables, and one time they did a piece about tango, and you were not having any tango experience. Correct. Before that piece. I wanted, if you remember, what was your impression? What was your feeling or understanding? Don't talk about feeling yet, I think, but your understanding about Argentine tango at that time.
It was very limited. We had 5 days to create a piece, so that means that we had to come up with the technique in about 3 days. And I remember having to lean into my partner a lot, and it was one of those. We have a term coined, lean in, like I couldn't stand without.
You were told to do that?
We were asked to kind of like lean in and have tension, but we weren't really, we didn't have the time to break it down. We didn't have a workshop. We didn't know our tango was available that time, and we were recreating a music video, and our choreographer, she had done a little bit of Argentine tango with actually one of your former students, I think Mochi was his name, out in LA, and they asked us to recreate that music video with a lot of changes in our clothing and stuff. In a 5-minute piece, we did 38 changes. So
when at that time they brought to Pilables the idea, okay, we are going to incorporate an Argentine tango number.
Right.
What was do you remember what was the first thing to come out to your mind as a dancer and other dancer?
Sweat, beads of sweat, because I have no idea how to do Argentine tango. But what the relief was is that we were allowed to kind of put in our own Pilables vocabulary with it. I think one of the difficulties, she had given us the kind of the cultural background about milongas and some of the rules at milongas, but, that didn't quite help us in terms of our vocabulary. And, not until I came to the studio did I realize really how intense the partnering is. And in Pilables, if you're partnering somebody who is a veteran, they can pretty much cover you. Like, you basically have to make the form, and if they're strong enough, they can lift you and make up for all of your technical deficiencies. But with tango, it really, really does get enhanced even more. And I guess Pilables is the same way. But so that's kind of where we met on the same ground, where, if you're partnering somebody who is amazing at tango and is a really good leader, then, it makes the follow look wonderful. And I thought that was really interesting. But to the degree in which you had to be very proficient with pressure is on a whole different level. It has to be a lot earlier in the process of your gathering information physically.
So now that you have the opportunity of experience some tango lessons, but also you have the opportunity to watch people who dance tango for quite some time, and your eyes is training to see the difference and the quality. What is your perception about Argentine tango. If you have to today tell someone, I said,
Right.
Argentine tango now, I see it. Oh,
Right. So one of the benefits I saw right away was just when you walk in, the demographic is much older than my style of dance. You know, you have to be so much more physically fit, but also muscular. You have to be in almost your prime in order to do my dance style. But it kind of stops there. You learn the technique. But you're never going to start a new career in it. But I feel like tango, when somebody's in their 50s, they can come in, learn, and still continue to do it, you know, well into their 70s. And you can't really do that in
another type of dance.
Yeah, most dance forms, I want to say. You know, I'm not familiar with all of them, so I can't say for sure. But I feel like tango has that, like, kind of like fine wine. It's like that, you know, the older you get, the more, you know, refined you become, and there's a certain richness that comes with experience. And I think, you know, you certainly get that with other dance forms. But
so you said the older you came, the more. So we have long way to go to refine our technique.
We got another 40 years before I
we
become
really
okay.
understand and tango.
Right.
This is very interesting
it's
for
very
a point
rich.
of view of dancer.
Yeah.
You're talking about mature in the life in order to understand better this dance, right?
And it becomes very evident your own maturity through your dance and how you interact with others. Like in classes, you know, we switch off partners a lot, and you might not get that, that scenario so much when you're doing my kind of dance or even ballet. You may partner, 4 or 5 people, but you're constantly always changing, which means you have to be sensitive to everybody else's needs and pressures, and whether it's not just height variation anymore. It's like, how do they learn? Like, how do they understand pressure? And I think in its most ideal format, like when I partner you, Guillermo, or Mia in particular, like I can feel the difference right away in the
same
embrace.
Language, in the
same language, and how quickly things respond. Where I might not necessarily get that, I have to like enhance it even more, and then you have the battle in your head. Do I say something like, I gave it? Was it not clear enough? My lead, where you can kind of fake it. A lot of things you can fake it, and but not
it's noticed.
But it's noticeable.
In the long term, you notice.
Yeah, you notice it, and you can really. Yeah, tell.
So, Jun, you work as a teacher with young kids in the dance world.
Right.
Do you think tango will be a benefit addition added to young dancers?
I think so. The reason why people take martial arts is a certain discipline you have to have in order to do it. And I remember taking martial arts when I was younger, and I was like, when are we going to break the boards? When are we getting into a fight or whatever? It's a long journey before you're allowed to do that. And I feel like tango has that same thing where you have to learn a lot before you can actually feel like you're doing it well. And I think it teaches you patience. And I know that with the culture nowadays, it's very instant gratification, and you really want to get things now. And I think it would really kind of lengthen that time frame, And I think also there's a certain amount of confidence you have to have in order to embrace and lead somebody. And I feel like having them do both sides would be really beneficial. So yes, to answer your question, I think it'd be very beneficial to have the youth of America, the younger generation, even the older generation. Everybody really should be doing tango, I think. It's a great form of communication, non-verbal communication.
Non-verbal communication.
Yeah.
I like that. And I like that coming from a dancer point of view. We talk in different segments about when we face the wall in tango, and I call the wall at that point when you as a dancer are facing your own persona, and doesn't matter how much you work in technique or how much you try to training about something specific, is your own issues, your own persona who doesn't let you to keep growing. Do you face that and your dance style as well?
We do, but I don't think it's as prevalent. Maybe, I think us as physical beings moving with others, in Pilates you say, like in life you usually say, check your baggage at the door. Like all of your life issues, you keep them outside of the studio. But in Pilables, because we created the dances, it was like, bring them in. And in some ways, I feel like there's a little bit more of that in tango. You bring in your passion and you kind of, you know, use that to enhance what you're doing with each other. You don't let it, you shouldn't let it, you know, I think my own personal opinion is inhibit or prevent you from expressing yourself. But I feel like tango is a good form of being able to kind of like unleash some of that. It's like going out and doing a workout, you know, you want to let out your aggression or your the walls of your day. I feel like you can kind of like let that free in tango sometimes, where as you know, ballet, it's kind of like you have to stay held, you have to stay within the mold, and tango has, I think, a healthy amount of that. You don't want to, you know, break the embrace too much, but there's certain things that you want to keep, but there's enough that you can break that I feel like and really work through that other dance forms that I'm aware of don't have as much of. So,
okay, fantastic. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you for having me.
It's very valued having a different perspective, a different life background experience in dance, different background. So, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.